Welcome back. So for this video, what we're going to talk a little bit about is layering our color. We're going to start adding in some details in our buildings here, and we're going to start adding in signs and start, I think, coming up with kind of a story that we want to relay in our scene, right? It's not enough that we're able to simply do photorealism. We want to add a little bit of extra interest and story in our piece here. So, how do we go about doing that? The first thing that I would suggest doing for right now is let's go back to our color scene here. And we'll go into our color block. I'm just going to use the magic lasso tool. If you have these on different layers, that's fine too. But I'm going to use the magic lasso tool on this big brownish red glob. And I'd like to do something a little bit more interesting with it. So let's make a new layer, and what I'll do is, I know that a lot of these building elements in here, I'm just going to freehand paint this. Remember, photorealism doesn't just mean that it's like everything is absolutely photo perfect. It means that it's a nice blend of photography and paint, so that it's a little difficult to tell how the artist achieved the results that they have. Right, so I'm going to, just using my zero block brush, I'm just going to paint in some of these lighter details here. That might look pretty cruddy, but I can set it to overlay. And now I'm starting to see a little bit more color in the building. Right, if I want to make a new layer, I can use instead of using my stylus, I'll use my mouse. I can start to click, shift, hold shift down, left click, shift, hold down, left click. Right. I can start to add in some of these details. Right. Now on this layer, I'm not doing an overlay or anything. I'm just painting, right? And this just requires a light touch. Nothing, you don't need to be super aggressive with your painting. Right, we're just trying a few things out. And again, I mean, like, there's not much to these layers, so don't be afraid to try things. Don't be afraid to get things wrong. Any layer that you happen to be doing detail in here, you're going to notice, you know, it's not a huge time sink. Right? So all we're doing is we're just painting in some of these minor details here, adding a little bit more form and structure to the buildings. And you can see that they're really starting to come together, right? We might know that these areas under the window might be more foundational in the building. And, you know, if I go back to my overlay layer underneath it, I might go, okay, maybe I need to put a little bit more of a highlight on some of these window tops, get them to stand out a little bit more. You know, it's up to you. There's no right or wrong way to go about doing this. Now, you might say, oh, well, you know, what about, you can also add darker colors here. What about things like grime and dirt and stuff that collect underneath the windows? Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit later. But we're just trying to kind of do one thing at a time. With this side of the building, this looks really flat now that I've added this green color. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab this side here. Right? If I remember, I turned off some of my value stuff before, so I'm going to turn some of this back on to sort of see how this stuff is going to get applied. I might actually take these and pull these above just to sort of see the finished result. Okay, so again, we'll do, we can just go to our overlay layer here. We've already got this selected. Again, you can do these on different layers. I'm being a little sloppy here. But I know that this area is going to be a little bit more in the light. When I'm using my brush, I'm not super worried about getting an even tone, right? Getting those little extra details in here adds a little bit of visual interest. And you know, this area is should be a little bit darker. So I might also do that with this side of the building. Just grab it and just do what I can to make it just maybe a little bit darker back here. Oop. Can be on any layer you want here. These are all overlays. Maybe lighten this up a little bit, gray it out a little bit. Sure, that looks a little bit better. Remember, when you're doing overlays, if you want to sort of bring things back down in value, make your overlay color gray, and that should work out for you. Now, what I don't like about what I've painted so far is that some of this stuff is a little bit messy, so just use your polygonal lasso tool and you can get rid of any messy bits you don't want, straighten things out, whatever you want to do. Okay. You know, I might continue with this process for this second building here. I'm not going to do that right now. Let's for right now start applying some branding to the side of the building. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my planetoids graphic here. I'm going to apply it over here. And to do that, Control T to transform, edit, transform, distort. And we can just distort it to the box that it's supposed to be in. Now, this is supposed to be applied like a brick painting on the side of the building. So I might actually make this a little bit, maybe a little bit smaller. And you might go, okay, well, that doesn't look very good. And you'd be right. That looks like garbage. But what I can do is I can change how this applies. Like I might choose a different type of layer blending. We'll see. I think one of the problems that I have with this, how this is applied, is it just looks way too new compared to the rest of the building. So what I'm going to do is I am going to add a layer mask, and I'm going to just click this little guy right here. And so now I'm automatically selected to be working my layer mask. So I'm going to use my brush, which should be black. I'm just going to draw out part of this, and I'm going to make it look kind of faded, like there was something painted here but it hasn't been touched in a long time. And then I can sort of decide how I want that to display. Maybe screen is fine. Sure, that looks a lot better. And if I think that that's too much has been done there, I can go back with my with a white brush in the mask And I can even paint in different parts of this, different components of it. So it looks like parts of it are still there. Yeah, I mean, you're your own artist. Figure, find the way forward that you think is going to look best. Let's grab this burger logo here. I'm just going to Alt drag that. And let's put our little burger place off to the side here. So what I'm going to do is Control T. I'm going to just size this down to how this is going to look over the door. Then I'm going to also make two smaller versions of this. And these are going to go on the windows on either side. Let's just scale those way down. Okay, and then it's Control T once we've got the one that we want. Edit, transform, distort. Right, and we just try and make sure that that is properly aligned. Maybe that pops up, breaks the top here a little bit. That's fine. For these guys here, just going to eyeball it. You know, the perfectionist in you might think, oh, you know, these don't look totally perfect. It really won't be a big deal. It really won't. Then I'm just going to select all these layers. I'm going to put them on the same layer, and I'm going to grab our windows to here again, I think. Maybe I'll just do it this way. I'm going to grab the lower parts of these windows, and I'm going to grab some of my through burger colors here. And I'm just going to apply them on one of my layers, just to get a little extra color in there. Again, you may find that the logos, once you applied them, are still like way too bright. That's okay, because you can go to Image, Adjust, Hue, Saturation. Maybe take the saturation down, maybe take the lightness down a little bit. And then maybe that won't stand out as much anymore. You can Control-click, grab your paintbrush, just add a little bit of dirt, and then that sort of goes with the rest of our scene. So what I'm noticing here is that we're starting to get these buildings looking really kind of dirty and very, very well worn, and that's fine. We could probably use a little bit of contrast though, so I'm going to start adding in some greenery. Now, I was originally thinking about putting some trees here, but I'm sort of second guessing that a little bit. So I'm gonna hold off on putting trees there. I'm gonna grab the background here. I'm gonna make a layer above it. I'm gonna call this greenery, and I'm gonna start to paint in what might be trees or something in the background. And I'm just blocking all of that stuff in, right? I can go into my class brushes here as well. And I can start to block in things like leaves. Tops of those leaves a little bit brighter, bottom's a little bit darker. Now, that's maybe okay, but it also sort of flattens the image out because we've got these greens here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lower the opacity here a little bit. Oh, you're getting a little preview of where we're going there below. And I think what I'm going to do before I continue, I just need a little bit more vision of where we're going to go. So I'm going to make a new layer. I'm going to call this one Color Overlay. And what I'm trying to do with this layer is I'm trying to add in a little bit of visual excitement. So I'm going to just use my polygonal lasso tool, and I'm just going to kind of grab this building and kind of emphasize where we were going with things last time. Right where we have shadows in the buildings and stuff. Okay, so here's what I'm doing with this overlay. All I'm going to do, I'm going to grab my 0 block. I'm going to grab, say, kind of a sunny color here. I'm going to set this to overlay. I'm just going to do something like that, and maybe grab some of this brighter color. We'll really emphasize this corner here. Yeah, that feels good, doesn't it? It feels good. And then our other colors, sort of our grayish colors, become our shadows. So I could also maybe like grab some of these darker colors and start blocking those in on our buildings. Again, I'm not doing anything really special. I'm just trying to get a general sense of kind of where we're going. Now that I know we've got, sunlight and stuff coming in, what I might do is I might take some of this brighter color here, and let's go back to those trees. And I might make a layer over those guys. Let's set it to overlay, and we'll get some of that sunlight on the trees here too, and then that just lifts all of that up. I mean, I'm liking it enough that I think I really want to take the greenery aspect even a little bit further, and maybe add in some additional details. If I go into my tool presets, right, I've got all sorts of foliage brushes and stuff that I can use. So I might just start adding things in. Don't be afraid to add in a little bit of darkness into your brushes. I really like where this is going, and I think the more that I'm looking at this, the more I'm like, might be kind of interesting to do something that's, really make these buildings old and kind of make them a little bit, post-apocalyptic or something. Right. So I might start adding in those details. If it's post-apocalyptic, how do I know that it is? I mean, one thing might be that our buildings have things like notifications or something on them. So we might go in. We might take a couple of these store windows, and first of all, what we'll do maybe is paint out some of these windows a little bit, like they've been sort of painted over. Right? If your color's getting in the way, make sure you just turn it off. right? We can just kind of smear out those windows, no big deal. We might do a new layer where we make maybe notices or something that's on the door, so we'll maybe grab just a quick brush, and we can add notices all along here. And maybe there's a big yellow notice on the door here or something like that. You know, don't come in. So these are the sorts of things that you'll probably go ahead and add in. So add in the remainder of your branding to these different buildings. Maybe start building up some more foliage. Start adding in some small chaotic details along here. Don't forget to add in chaotic details like garbage and trash in the street or something like that. If these bricks are falling apart, make sure that you add in some spots on the brick that are darker, that indicate maybe bricks have fallen off. And then where did the bricks go? Maybe they're down here on the road or something like that. So we'll stop this video right here, but you can sort of see where this is going to go, and we'll probably need to layer, once we've got all of our details in, we'll probably need to layer in a little bit more color over the top of it to sort of get across the point, because this still looks, this could be a really cool piece, but it still looks a little cheerful. So we're going to see what we can do about adding in just a little bit more color to sort of clarify and detail to clarify the picture. So we'll stop there for now, and when we pick up, we'll finish this off.